Welcome to the Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
Hi, this is Roger Gaither, your host for the Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast. Today, Bill Macchio, publisher of Mount Pleasant Magazine, chats with Mark Arnold, the new chief of police for the town of Mount Pleasant. Now, here are Bill and Mark.
And here we are with another Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast. And I'm honored to have our new chief with us here. Chief Arnold, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Glad to be here.
You were featured, for those that maybe have not picked up the latest edition, we featured you in the magazine, and I learned a lot of stuff about you I did not know. I want to say thanks again for taking the time with our managing editor, Lindsay Bishop. And the magazine is honored to have you in you and Chief Ritchie in this issue. I'd like our listeners to know a little bit more about the new police chief. Like, if you don't mind, Chief, how many kids do you have? How long have you lived in Mount Pleasant? Things like that, please.
I have two children, ages 10 and 15, going on 16. So I'm teaching my oldest how to drive and doing all that stuff. So I live here in Mount Pleasant. We've lived in Mount Pleasant since 2000. So I've been a resident here since then. Prior to that, I was a young officer, and I lived in a couple of apartments and things like that in town. So, but yeah, it's I graduated from the Citadel in 1995. I met my wife. She was a College of Charleston student.
Wow. I
was fortunate enough to get hired by the Mount Pleasant Police Department.
The town's honored to have you, Chief. Did you have any idea when you started working there 25 years ago that you would elevate? No. No. In fact, I remember my interview with then Chief Sexton, and he kind of asked me what my long-term goals were. And back then, I was going to work at the police department for about 5 years. I was going to get a master's degree, and I was going to go be an FBI agent. That was my plan. Plans changed. I fell in love with local law enforcement. I like the pace and the interaction with the community. This is for me. So the passion for the job built up with you. At first, it was kind of like a starting point for you, but then you really got passionate about the job. And is it fair enough to say about the community as well?
It is. It really is. I've always wanted to, even as a young individual, I was a political science major in college, and I liked helping people. So I figured, good way to go, law enforcement. But after working in the local level, working alongside of I was a detective for several years and working alongside of the FBI here in Charleston. And I just felt that my calling and my purpose was here.
What does it say about you and Chief Ritchie, and what does it say about the community that both y'all have been with the community so long? I mean, I hate to brag about the community, but that's what we love so much. But why is it? And do other officers there stay that length too? Is Mount Pleasant known for having long-term officers with us? Right.
It's beginning to become known that way. So when I started in 1995, there were only about 80 officers in the department, and we didn't see that many people retire. And over the years, in fact, this past year, we had several people make it past 25 years and retire. Recently, one of our traffic sergeants at about year 27 retired. So we're starting to see that as an agency. We've grown. We've had more and more people that have stayed that long. We're at the point now where we have veteran officers that are at that point. And so we're starting to see it where people are staying for an entire career here. And I think the reason they do is because it's a great community and it's a great police department.
As you take over the reins and fill the footsteps of Chief Ritchie, what are the top two priorities you have to pull everything together and so everybody's comfortable with you?
There's a sign where when our police officers leave the station, it says, "Don't lose the streets." And for many years, my philosophy has been, we have a great community and a great police department. We need to keep it that way. Some agencies in law enforcement, they're trying to reconnect with the community. They're trying to rebuild relationships. For us, the challenge is to continue every day maintaining and improving the relationships that we have and improving the department. Not from a position of deficiency, like we were not good. But the moment you rest on your laurels, you start to decline. So we need to constantly improve and evolve. So it's not so much I need to change anything with our agency because we're deficient in some way, but you always have to ask, is there a better way to provide service and help our community?
Absolutely, because it all flows down from the top, and it also will flow out to the residents of this community if you guys have y'all's act together and you're positive about things. I have a passion for you guys, through you guys, with the neighborhood program. I just think the neighborhood program is, for a comparison, is like a small group, if you would, for church. Right. Because it really connects that small group with the church. Well, you guys do such a great job. Can you tell our viewers and listeners what I'm yakking about here?
One of the things that's important for us is to establish relationships with the people in the community. And one of the best ways to do that is when we assign an officer, for lack of a better word, a beat or an area, it's a neighborhood, and that's how we refer to it. And the goal for them to be assigned to that particular area for an extended period of time is that they get to know the citizens, they get to know what should be there, and it helps them identify things that maybe shouldn't be, things that are out of place, and develop those relationships with homeowners associations, things like that, so that we can help them.
When did you guys embark on this journey with the neighborhood programs? Basically,
since I started, so at least 25 years. Part of that stems from when we became accredited in 1992 as a CALEA accredited agency. And from that point, that has been one of CALEA's best practice things is having officers assigned to an area for an extended period of time for that very purpose of getting to know the people in the community. And we've always done it. We've done it since 1992, 93 timeframe.
Podcast advertising is the new way to reach your best audience. Podcast advertising gives your business a voice of authority. Be heard. Advertise on one of our podcasts. Visit carolinapodcasts.com or call 843-345-7012.
You're listening to the Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast.
Not that we don't have our challenges like any community, we do, but you guys have done such a good job. Do you have other community police department visit with you to see what you're doing right and stuff like that? And do you do the same with others? We've
had a lot of agencies reach out to us and ask, what are you doing? How do you do things? And it could be as simple as a kind of a workflow process that we have, or our community outreach efforts, things like that. And we look at other agencies. One of my newly promoted captains is a CALEA assessor, and it's really,
wow, that's a great thing for us, isn't it?
Right. It's really nice because he goes to other agencies that are accredited and helps review their agencies. And in doing that, sometimes other agencies will have fantastic ideas. And, we can bring those back and adopt them ourselves.
Do you actually go out of town and visit sometimes?
Not very often. A lot of it is reading articles, Police Chief Magazine, IACP, different CALEA articles.
I got you.
And we can reach out to agencies if we see something, hey, that looks like a really great program. I want to learn more about that. So we'll reach out to that agency. Is
more collaboration going on than before?
We have more and more meetings. And I will say this, Charleston, the law enforcement agencies in Charleston work really well together.
That's great.
And a lot of it stems from large scale events like the Bridge Run, Spoleto, different things where we come together in a non-crisis situation and we work together on events and things, which has helped over the years so that when we do have crisis situations that we work together very well. So yeah, we definitely have a good working relationship with other law enforcement.
I bet if surveys were taken of communities that have events where the law enforcement agencies have to come together, they would probably see similar things. It's always a big thing that Mount Pleasant has very low crime. What do you accredit that to? I'm sure some of it's the residents for sure, but seriously, sir, Chief, what do you credit that to?
It's a partnership. I would like to say it's the police department's fantastic, but it truly is a partnership. It's truly working with citizens and homeowners associations to make sure that they do their part, report suspicious activity when they see it, secure their valuables at night. One of the things for us that is an issue is thefts, people breaking into cars and stealing things. And it's a kind of a double-edged thing. People feel very safe in this community. So sometimes they're a little bit lackadaisical on the measures that they can take, like locking their car doors at night, not leaving valuables in plain sight, closing the garage doors, and so sometimes what happens when you feel safe, you become lackadaisical and then it invites activity. So for us, it's remind people, we have a program, a victim of crime, cards and things where we'll reach out to citizens and we'll be riding through the neighborhood at night and we'll see like their garage doors open. And we'll leave them a note and say, hey, here's a friendly reminder. Please close your garage door and make sure your valuables are put away. I remember one of the first cases I worked as a detective was a burglary, and the homeowner had left his garage door open and found his missing bicycle. He was an avid bike rider. He found a missing bicycle in a pawn shop up in Somerville. And I met with the pawn shop owner, recovered the bike, and the pawn shop owner told me, well, the same person pawned a bunch of other items. Well, all those items also belong to this homeowner. And basically that's it. Crimes of opportunity is a lot of what we see. We have other types of crime, but fortunately we don't have a lot of violent crime. It happens, but not as much. And a lot of it is crimes of opportunity. So working with the community to educate and help prevent that.
Working with the community is very essential, no matter how big or small the city is.
Absolutely.
Is it not? What's the biggest thing you learned from Chief Ritchie?
The importance of developing relationships when you're not in the middle of a crisis. So one of the things that we've learned and I learned very much from watching him was the importance of having community relations with community leaders in all areas, so that if you have situations, you have issues arise, they can work with you. And that's really important in times of crisis.
He was good at building relationships for sure. A lot of people talk about how our town's grown, but as a member of the chamber, that we often talk about your department. And I'll never forget the story, Chief, of these truant officers that they went to a call, a domestic call, and the son didn't want to go to school. And when they really drilled down, it was because he didn't have any clean clothes to wear.
Right.
And you know the story I'm about ready to say? And they went to Walmart, took them to Walmart and bought them new clothes. I mean, it touches my heart to even talk about things like that. I wish more of those stories got out.
That's the thing with us and with law enforcement. Those stories are abundant in law enforcement, but most of society doesn't hear about it. Sometimes the family or that child, sometimes it comes out, but sometimes they don't want anyone to know that they're in that situation. It's kind of a private, personal thing, and so, yes, it's great work and it's very meaningful to that young child, but I can also understand the child's not wanting everyone to know.
Tell us one situation that you've been in that you did something like that. Would you share that with us, please, sir?
A lot of my time in law enforcement has been, working cases as an investigator. You would do things that were trying to make a victim feel whole, things like that. helping out with our officers and a variety of community outreach
I
efforts.
see you doing that a lot. I think that's why you are where you are. You like helping the officers because through that interaction, they can help the community.
Right. And so what started out for me, and it's, my wife asked me one time, do you miss being out on the road? And yeah, I miss being out on the road, but I also like this position of helping mold and develop the officers so that they can help other people. It's one of those things where it's a transition, I suppose, from, me being the individual out in the field doing it, as opposed to me teaching and leading the officers out there and how to do it. Well,
Chief Arnold, if I may, it's one of those things when you get the gray hair like I got, or you get less hair like you have. Right. It's life experiences, because we love sharing what's between our ears. Correct.
Right. Right.
So, hey, in closing, I wanted to ask you something. In your interview in the magazine, which I hope everybody picks up the latest issue to learn more from you, but, Chief, we got it on our website too, MountPleasantMagazine.com. They can search your name and Chief Richie's name. But in the interview, you mentioned keeping a sense of community, and you've answered a lot of this already. Excited to evolve the police department. Can you elaborate? What do you mean evolve the police department?
Sure. One of the things would be right now what we're doing. Technology. Leveraging technology to reach out to the community and be more efficient. It's one of those things where you still need to have that interpersonal ability to relate to people and talk to people face to face. But you need to leverage technology to reach a broader audience. It could be evolving in terms of training and our tactics and how we handle situations. How we handle mental health now is very different than how we handled it 10, 15 years ago. One of the things we're working on right now is a task force, which is a group of, it's police officer, a community paramedic from the fire department, and a mental health clinician who will proactively go out and work with individuals that are dealing with substance abuse problems, homelessness, mental health issues on a more proactive front end than a reactionary paradigm. So when I say evolve, that's what I mean is just keep asking the question, how do we improve and how do we do a better job at helping our citizens have a safe environment to live in?
That's a great way to end this, Chief. It's a fantastic way, actually. But I appreciate the time today, and I hope everybody picks up the magazine and read about you. And I was honestly thinking today, I love my front cover of the magazine, this issue, but I should have given more thought about putting you and Chief Richie on the cover, because you guys are leaders in our community. And I've said this at the town council meetings before, it's because of you and the way that city council works together. It allows me to write positive stories, publish positive stories about our community, which I love telling the story of our community. So thanks for being part of that awesome story. Okay, Chief?
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for spending your time with the Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast. Your community, your podcast. Listen to past and future episodes at mountpleasantpodcast.com.